The remake of Resident Evil 2 was a good game by any measure, but it was also a very different game than the original. My grievances about it are so nice I aired them twice, so I won't belabor it here other than to say that the atmosphere could be a little flat and boring without music and dramatic angles. I'm in the minority on this, sure, but I'm not the only one, as this new mod from AlphaZomega demonstrates. It transforms the entire game into a working fixed camera experience, with a surprising depth of customization options. There are 5 camera modes in the current version, each offering different levels of motion. I found semi-fixed to be the best balance. Fully static cameras sometimes make it harder to see the edges of the screen, while the constant movement of the follow options can get distracting. You can even tweak the threshold for when panning starts, as well as limit how many camera changes can occur within a given period of time. There are similar options for movement, with 6 variants of modern and tank turning. Auto-aim has 4 presets along with adjustments for laser sight color and hitbox sensitivities. It's extremely well laid out, but you know, does it actually work? The answer is just about. Some of the angles are well chosen and feel just like classic Resident Evil. A lot of the areas that seemed boring or empty before have a lot more style now, while still displaying the objects and enemies in a practical way. The visual style holds up very well in this mode, and the original soundtrack option isn't jarring as it was with over-the-shoulder gameplay. The music DLC felt slapped in before, but now it's like it was made for this mod. In some brief moments, it comes together well enough to feel like an alternate timeline GameCube-style remake. Of course, there's a catch, and that is that the cameras are sometimes a clusterfuck. Things that were highlighted by the developers before may not be visible now.
There it is. The station. There it is. The station.
The first RPD entrance should really have a view to introduce the player to the space, as both versions of the game had, rather than this pretty underwhelming shot showing only the door. The nameplates needed for an early puzzle aren't visible now. Unless you remember the solution or have an 8K screen, disabling the mod is the only way to solve it. Many outdoor shots are too distant to read, and the opening sequence especially is rough to navigate. Even knowing the maps by heart, certain cameras make it hard to tell where the pathways are. This stairwell was either obscured by the helicopter or too dark to see. The rooms were made with the understanding that the flashlight would always be shining where the player was looking, and decoupling the view from that light can leave halls in total darkness. There is a camera light option to compensate for this, at the cost of lowered contrast. There are too many front-facing views in general, leaving you blind to what's ahead. There's nothing wrong with these angles when used carefully, but they sometimes lead straight into an enemy, like this view on the approach to a G-monster. The direction the camera is facing decides how well the shooting goes. An enemy that's perfectly manageable from the front can become unreasonably hard to fight with a reverse view. Ideally, a flag could be set when enemies like this are near to keep the cameras at your character's back and avoid blind shooting, but that may be out of the scope of what RE Framework can do. I've seen complaints about cuts happening too quickly, as in this example where 2 feet from a door the camera jumps into a window only to cut back a split second later. These fast cuts can be adjusted out in the settings, but there's really no point to the window view in the first place. Some of the issues are due to the game itself more than the mod. The over-aggressive zombie lunges were tuned to compensate for over-the-shoulder movement, and with the more limited fixed camera movement, that can feel obnoxious. The Resident Evil 6 alligator chase doesn't work well with this view. It was dumb in the vanilla game and remains one of the worst downgrades Capcom made, but it doesn't get any better with fixed cameras and probably didn't need to be converted. Ada's hacking segment reverts to over-the-shoulder mode when using the scanner, so it's not as if the rest of the game is pure fixed camera anyway. Lickers are very hard to fight with this mod, occasionally jumping to a ceiling that's out of frame, but mainly because they're too damned spongy to react to your shots. I found it necessary to start on them from distances that were never possible in the old games, then blast when they got close. This is actually the best part of this mod. The targeting is amazingly good. There's a weak auto-lock, but you can still fine-tune your aim with a laser sight, or freely aim with no lock at all. It's almost equivalent to the boost in precision that free aim brought to the new Metroids, allowing you to get critical headshots and target weak points in a way that was never possible with the old tank controls. You can still move while shooting, and the focus system remains intact. The cursor only appears when locked to an enemy, which allows you to track and shoot off-screen zombies. If you're struggling to hit targets, you can disable the mod when LT is held to revert to over-the-shoulder aim. This can solve a lot of the camera-related aiming problems, but I rarely found it necessary to switch. Even though it's just a mod, this aiming system solves several long-running problems with the classic games, and if Capcom ever does another fixed camera game, I'd like it to work like this. The main downside is that the auto-aim can't snap as well as in the old games. An option to do complete turns was just recently added, but it's a little slow and the aim can end up off, so you still have to do some manual tuning. On my first playthrough, the movement was bad. The third-person controls couldn't be altered, so all the schemes still depended on the right stick for turning. On top of that, the right stick would bug out and stop responding, or characters would get stuck running endlessly. There have been major leaps since then, allowing you to turn adequately enough with a single stick in both modern and tank styles. It's hard to offer a judgment because the mod keeps changing, but as of version 1.09 it's decently playable, if still slightly drunker feeling than the old games. The fact that this works as well as it does is extremely impressive. The game is fully playable, despite being designed for a completely different perspective and control scheme, and the mod itself is still new and actively being improved. So actively, in fact, that it was hard to write this without my script being rendered obsolete each day. The cameras are being sorted out, and if the roughest spots can be patched, then this will become a really solid way to play. If you're one of the people that would have preferred a GameCube-style remake, this mod doesn't quite deliver that. It's not magic. Content is still missing, the B scenarios still suck, Mr. X does nothing but annoy and waste time, and Ada hacking fan motors hasn't gotten any less dumb with time. Dolphin and the Rebirth port are better ways to get the original experience, but this is a really interesting glimpse into how well that style of play could have worked if the remake had been built around it. I would happily pay Capcom for official DLC that does this, but better, like their over-the-shoulder mode for Village. The money-making potential is off the charts.
There are dozens of us! Dozens!
I recommend at least giving the mod a shot, and it couldn't be much easier. You install the RE framework by just dropping a single file in your game directory. From there you can use Mod Manager to install the fixed camera mod with a toggle. It should work with either the old or RT branches of the game. And while you're at it, consider the mod that fucks Mr. X off into a Keebler elf.
Sorry about that.